Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's MTPredictor video, I would like to look at how the USE minis unfolded yesterday, which was the 3rd of September. I've deliberately done the video today because yesterday was a bad day, and I think it's only fair that when software vendors do videos and have a look at reviewing their products, they look at the bad days as well as the good days. It's just too many software vendors are only just to show good trades, and they always conveniently seem to forget about losing trades. As professional traders, we all know that there'll be losing trades. They will, they can, they do unfold, and as such it's important to understand that everyone will have losing periods, losing days. So it's important to see how these unfold in the larger picture of how the previous days have unfolded, and also how it's important to keep your losses small. That's why at MTPredictor we're not scared of losses, we don't avoid losses, we try and keep them small. So let's have a look at the ES. I've deliberately chosen the ES because again this was a really bad day for the ES, so I want to have a look at how we would have done here. Our STF indicator was blue stroke grey, should be looking to take some of these buy setups. You can see we have history triangles on our chart to see when we would have had trades. We don't hide anything, so this would have been just filled by a tick. But let's take the worst case scenario. You were in and then out. Remember, we keep the losses under control by using correct position sizing. In this case, less than 2% of a sample $20,000 US account. So this is what we call a one risk unit. So this would be a -1R. Then if I clear it off, there would have been another trade here, and as you can see that would have been taken in and that would have been stopped out as well. That would have been a -1R. You had another one here, taken in, stopped out. Again, that would have been a -1R. So now you were down 3R. This does happen. It's important to see and understand and recognize that you will have losing periods. We had a DP buy here. This trade was actually progressing very nicely, didn't quite reach the profit target, and you were sitting on at least 3R profit. Now you may well have said, well, I've lost 3R so far, therefore I want to start trading the stop really close to the previous bar's lows, because we're getting close to the target, and then put back almost 3R to make yourself break even for the day so far. Or let's take a worst case scenario again. Perhaps you said, I'm now at over 3R profit, therefore I want to bring my stop to at least break even so I don't lose another trade. So that would have been stopped out for -1R. Sorry, it would have been stopped out for break even, sorry, because it's a break even trade. It should have been kept at -3R for the day. We then had another DP buy later in the day, same kind of thing. You were sitting on a couple of R profit, very close to the end of the day, but let's take the worst case scenario again. This would have been stopped out for about break even, just on the market close. So at the worst case scenario, this would have been a bad day at 3 losing trades, -3R. But can you see how the losses were kept small under control? Let's go back a day and see how we would have done on the previous day. This day, if I look at our STF indicator, it was red stroke grey and then blue later on, but I want to look at the large degree trend using our higher time frame chart. Perhaps I should have done this before I looked at yesterday. So on the large degree trend for yesterday, just to quickly review that, which was the 3rd of September, there was our last DP resistance area from this pivot. We were beyond that, therefore the large degree trend was up, so you would have been buying. But let's have a look at the previous day, the 2nd. So for this, if I clear everything off, where would we have had any pivots? Well, before the 2nd unfolded, you'd have gone back to, I think this is probably the last pivot low, yes, there. So you've taken DP off there. On the 1st, the market went through that, largely trend down. Therefore, for yesterday, the previous day, which was the 2nd, the largely trend would have been down. Let's have a look at how this would have unfolded then. Let's go back to the 3-minute chart. So if the large trend was down for the whole of today, the 2nd, you'd have been avoiding the buy setups, taking the sells. So for here, you'd have had a TS2 sell into the first target there for +2R. You'd have had another sell here for a -1R loss. So that'd be +2 -1. you've then had a history triangle here, and if I zoom in, this is very important to look closely at this, because because you have a history triangle does not mean to say you'd have had a losing trade, because this was actually a double top. So you'd have actually been in here, short just, but you weren't stopped out. Can you see how this high here did not stop you out? So the trade would have held short down here for another plus 2R. So let's have a look at what the results would have been the previous day. Well, 3 trades plus 2R minus 1 plus 2. So if we add that lot up, that would have been plus 3R profit. So can you see now how yesterday would not have been quite so bad, in that basically you would have been giving up the profits you made on the previous day. And that's why it's so important to keep the losses small, because over this period, even though you'd have had only 2 profitable trades and 1, 2, 3, 4 losing trades, in other words you'd had twice as many losing trades as profits, the profits were twice the size of the losses, therefore that gave you break even overall. And that's important to understand. For more advanced traders on the previous day, one thing we were looking at in the trading webinar on Wednesday was, because this was an inside gap, you can see here this is an inside gap up, we expect the gap to close, and if you look at where the low here at 10.51 was, it's within a tick or two of the previous day's close, so that was pretty much closing the gap. So you may well have got a profitable short trade on the downside there. If you were more experienced and seen that the gap had pretty much closed, you'd have known that the market may well then start to rally from this level. So if you'd been following your scanner, you'd have seen that on your 5-minute chart, if I go back out, where's the 5-minute chart? On your 5-minute chart, there was actually a TS1 buy setup came in here. So if you'd taken the long trade on your TS1 buy setup, the market rallied for the rest of the day, which is probably what you're expecting after the gap had pretty much filled there, and it would have been a nice 4.3R profit. So that would have been a very good profit at the end of the day there. So you can see that there are other ways to gain more profits once you have a greater understanding of the market. We're not just looking at large degree trend and just profits or sort of long and short trades. Once you have an understanding of, for example, the gap, and how when you have an inside gap it normally fills, once it has filled here, well, it was within a tick or so, the market's then like to rally again, you can then look to take a trade setup. So this is why we do our education, to give you a greater understanding above and beyond just the basic setups to be able to uncover trades like this. But the whole point of this video wasn't necessarily to show you what we teach with our more advanced training, but to show you that even when you have a bad day with MTPredictor, like we had here, and I've done this deliberately to show a bad day. Again, there are very few software vendors who actually deliberately do a promotional video showing bad days. It's just not the kind of thing that sells software, but it's important to understand that bad days and losing trades happen. As every professional trader knows, they can happen, so it's important for us to show them. But how the losses here were kept under control, and even when you take into consideration the 3 losing trades there, they would have actually kept you basically break even from the previous day. In other words, they would have wiped out the previous day's profits. But the most important thing is it would not have taken your account down. In other words, that's what we want when we have losing or drawdowns, is to keep the losses small so your trading account doesn't get further and further and further down, which happens with a lot of other systems. So hopefully this has been a good example here to show MTPredictor on a bad day, which was yesterday the 3rd of September, but it coming on the back of a better day the previous day. And this is why I haven't even looked at some of the other trades on some of the other markets here on the NQ, for example, and also the YM. The YM actually the previous day was quite good because you had a nice TS4 buy setup a bit later in the day, which was really nice indeed. That came after a nice 5-wave rally. You can see, whoops, I didn't quite get that right. That TS4 came in after a nice 5-wave rally. If I can get the mouse correct on here, there's the 5-wave rally with the high right at the minimum wave 5 WPT, so that DP would be a nice one to sell. But the important thing is that the actual market went down into the DP from the prior wave 4 here, which is where our TS4 buy setup came in. So this would be a nice one to take, because we know that DP support from a prior wave 4 is an area where the market's likely to reverse, and that would have actually had you long of the previous for the rally up into or in the last part of the day there, which would then have added another couple of hour profit in there. So I haven't even shown that until now. So there are other trades there that would actually make the 2nd of September even more profitable than I showed earlier in the video. So I hope this has been a good video to see both good trades, in other words some profitable trades, and also some more advanced trades with a greater understanding of the market, and coming on the back of a day when you would have actually had or followed by a day when you've had some losing trades. So the good, the bad and the ugly, so to speak, of trading, and shows how MTPredictor, by keeping the risks under control, keeps the losses small, and when the profits come through on the good days, keeps them much larger, and that's what moves your account forward over time.